What's up, guys? Nick here with another episode of Rick and Morty Isn't Just a Cartoon. Last week, we explored Tales from the Citadel and how it mirrored real world situations and systems of power, corruption, and control. This week, we're going to be diving in and shifting from the political to the personal, diving into the Vat of Acid episode, one of the most brilliantly twisted stories in the entire series. At a first glance, the episode feels like classic Rick and Morty chaos, over the top, absurd, and hilarious. But underneath the sci-fi, antics lies a story about pride, accountability, and how far Rick will go to prove that he is right. This one isn't just about bad decisions; it's about the cost of refusing to admit when you've made one. So a little bit of a little bit of recap for this episode for those who have not seen it or has just been a while for you. It kicks off when Rick and Morty they end up getting trapped in a deal that has gone wrong. Rick's brilliant plan is to fake their deaths using a vat of acid. Morty mocks the idea, calling it stupid, which, in my personal opinion, it was. And that sets off Rick's ego. Instead of brushing it off, Rick decides to teach Morty a lesson. Rick creates a device that allows Morty to save and reload, his life like it's a video game, undoing mistakes and trying again until things go perfectly. At first, Morty uses it for fun, fixing awkward moments, falling in love, even building an entire life. But when Rick reveals to Morty that the experiment was never what it seemed, everything came crashing down, literally. Morty's triumphs and heartbreaks are exposed as just another one of Rick's manipulations. A cruel way of proving that Morty's ideas will never measure up. This episode turns Rick's genius into a weapon, really. His inventions, once a symbol of brilliance, are now becoming to seem like a tool of humiliation. And I think that a really big moment in this episode it comes when Morty learns that the truth about his saved life. That all the happiness and pain he experienced were erased or merged into a nightmare experiment. He left devastated, realizing that Rick isn't teaching him responsibility, but breaking him down. The silence in that moment, no yelling, no fight, says everything. It's the rare time Morty fully understands who Rick really is. Someone who could destroy another person's sense of reality just to win an argument. And so, the bigger picture, the bigger connection that I'm making with this episode is a reflection on how ego poisons accountability. Rick's inability to be wrong is what drives the entire story. Instead of listening, he retaliates. Instead of teaching, he punishes. It mirrors real world dynamics we see in relationships, workplaces, even politics, when people in power use humiliation to feel control. It also speaks on how intellect and arrogance can isolate people. Rick's brilliance doesn't make him stronger here, not in any sense. It exposes his emotional weakness. He can manipulate time and reality, but he can't handle being questioned. The Vat of Acid episode, it shows how being right can become more important than doing what's right, and how pride often hides fear, the fear of being seen as flawed. And, you know, what really hit me about this episode is that it reminded me a lot of I've times when I've seen people weaponize lessons out of pride. I once knew someone who, they're one of the people that they always had to win. Even small arguments turned into battles to prove their point. It wasn't about the topic, it was about control. Watching Rick torment Morty felt like watching that mindset play out at its most extreme form. It also made me think about accountability, not just admitting when you're wrong, but owning the impact your choices have on others. Uh, The way Rick he twists a simple disagreement into emotional destruction hit hard. It's a reminder that intelligence without empathy can be dangerous, and that sometimes the smartest person in the room is the most insecure, honestly. So This episode, the Vat of Acid episode, it's more than a comedy of errors. It's a brutal look at pride, control, and emotional immaturity. It strips away the humor and shows the real consequences of refusing to take responsibility. Rick wins his argument, but he loses something far more important: trust. So I'll be back next week where we'll be discussing and breaking down the ABCs of Beth and the theme of Am I My Parents? This one digs into Beth's complicated relationship with her father and how her upbringing and our upbringing can shape the versions of ourselves we try to escape. You won't want to miss it. So, anyway, yeah, stay blessed and have a good one. Peace.